That's one small step for man.
Out for the. Hello everyone, welcome back to Here's What's Going On podcast. We're jumping right into today's episode. We're discussing helping Black women remove the mask by Linnell R. Plummer, EDD, LCPC. This article discussed the foundational masking that Black women are born into and forced to have in this world in order to navigate it safely, and how we Black women should have the opportunity to question whether or not the mask is necessary or should be tossed aside. I mask a bit when I'm at work, but don't we all? Like, the workplace is not for your authentic self. Speaking of authentic self, if you're choosing to be your authentic self at the time when, then also, please understand that there are consequences to being yourself as well. But back to the task at hand. A quote from the article: Black women, like many other racial and gender groups, are classified based on how people perceive them. The challenge is that most times preformed stereotypes are harmful to who that Black woman really is, and often suppress who she wants to be in the process. All true. But how I'm perceived is not as much my concern as it is others. But for me to function as if that concept doesn't exist would be stupid and unsafe of me. I feel like for example, for the longest time I wouldn't turn my camera on during work meetings for fear of being judged based off my race. We're human. I think we all have unintentional biases and things like that. But I like this article. I like that it discusses also the responsibility of clinicians and therapists to provide a safe space for understanding and support for Black women to question and journey through their experiences with masking and the cultural issues and marginalization that is, behind all of that. Being a Black woman, I don't think I stopped to pinpoint the countless microaggressions, biases, racist issues, and incidences I experienced. I don't think I have time to. I think that would be just too flipping grating on the spirit. And also I think, as me as a Black woman, I have to build up a certain tolerance to just deal with it and keep it moving because I have to. I don't have time to sit here and counsel every single microaggression or person who microaggresses against me and help them understand and then explain the concept. Sometimes, oftentimes that's not my point to get across to people. But I think I've adopted the thought of just, like I said, keep going and finding more and more of my authentic self and being able to find spaces where I can be more of my authentic self in those spaces. I'm really happy and grateful for it's plant season. So, I think I'm gonna get a jalapeno plant as I usually do. And I want to see if I can get a lemon tree, if I can find one, but we'll see. The quote: "To be considered is one of the highest forms of love, not remembered after the fact, not apologized to later, considered before the decision is made. It's the difference between someone loving you and someone thinking about you, because real love doesn't keep moving and clean things up later. It pauses, it accounts for you, it chooses with you in mind, and once you know what that feels like, anything less isn't enough." I call this being seen. I'm working on my script and plotting out the character relationships, and I have this couple where they just click. And it got me to thinking about how I've had those relationships in life where things just click. The couple was kind of together when they were in high school, but they got separated because of life stuff. But now they're adults and they get a chance to come back together and reunite. Of course, it's reuniting in chaos because I got to do it for the plot. But they get a chance to come back together, and when they do, they just click. And they just consider each other in such different ways, but it's beautiful to get to write and find moments to show that to the audience, and things like that. And yeah. But before I go, be sure to check out the show notes. Also check out my books on Amazon titled Poems to Cry To in the Dark and Love Letters Never Sent to Myself. Leave a 5-star rating. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I'm glad you're still here, and I hope you have the day you deserve. Later, bye.